Why are we here? How can we be happy? These are questions I've been curious about since a very young age. I'm your host, Anna Goldstein, and this is the Profit with Purpose show. I believe we have the answers within us, but somewhere along the way, we stop trusting ourselves. I'm interviewing top entrepreneurs, healers, and change makers about mindfulness strategies and practical tools to help you carve your path. Join me as you reconnect with your heart and live courageously so that we make the world a better place. Welcome back, Purpose Seekers. This is episode number 162. As you might be able to tell already from the sound of my voice, I have sinusitis, so I'm nearing the end of it, but our whole family got hit with the flu and we're on the mend. So I apologize. Normally I post podcasts on Thursdays and I just didn't get around to it given the week we had here. So I decided to jump on today and I wanted to talk about what personal development has done for me. So I really started diving into personal development when I was 26 years old. I maybe had a couple of seeds before that, but it was a really deep dive when I was 26. And I just wanted to talk about what my life looked like back then and what it looks like now, and really the transformation that has occurred for me. So back then, when I was 26, I struggled with body image issues. I would say I had body dysmorphia. I would do this checking routine where I would check my chin, my wrist, and my belly to check my weight. And it was almost like a little bit of a checking routine that was coupled with anxiety. So I was struggling with anxiety and depression. And I had disordered eating. So what that looked like was I wasn't eating really healthy, nutritious meals at a regular time. I was either depriving myself of food, or I was binge eating, or when I was eating things like a bunch of candy. Like I loved at that time, it would be like anything like a Swedish fish or Peacho's gummies. You know, I loved the fat-free gummies. And so I didn't have a balanced diet, and it threw also my sleeping off. So I could barely sleep at night. I was tossing and turning up a lot. And because of that, I would drink alcohol sometimes to help me fall asleep, or sometimes I would take Ambien to help me sleep. And I was socializing, but it was anxious a lot of times. So I would use alcohol to help me with my anxiety. So what does that mean? I was a binge drinker essentially. And it just wasn't a good situation. And I was single. I was having trouble really connecting intimately in relationships because obviously I was not connected with myself. I was very disconnected with myself, but I was unaware of that. I was just like, oh, all I want is a boyfriend back then when I was 26. And I thought that would fix some of my problems. And actually, I ended up getting into a relationship which made me even more aware that it wasn't the relationship that was going to make me happy, and that I ended up dating this guy for 6 months and breaking up. And that's when I started diving deep into personal development, because I knew that all these things weren't going, getting the right job or the right boyfriend weren't going to fix me, that I actually had to look inside myself and see what was really going on there. And so from the age of 22 to 28, I had 10 different jobs. And it was mostly because I wasn't fully listening to myself. So I had a lot of layers to shed of what do I think I should be doing? What is everybody else doing? And it was really a learning to listen to myself. And I would say that's the biggest thing that personal development has done for me, is that I have learned to more and more be myself. Now, I think this is a never-ending journey, but I'm 39 now, and I can say that I used to be really shy going to events and talking to people. Now I go to events all the time by myself, not knowing anyone. I'm totally comfortable. Now I no longer have issues with my body image or with food. I healed that completely. It took me many, many years to heal that area of my life, but I can say that I am 100% healed in that area. I know that because I have peace. I don't obsess about food. I don't overthink think things about food. I don't calculate food. These are things that I used to do with food too. I no longer do body checking. I attribute a lot of that too with yoga. Yoga really helped me build a connection and build the awareness, the inner awareness of my body and understanding when I'm hungry, when I'm full. And it naturally changed my relationship with food. And also I would say emotional healing, right? Understanding different emotions, understanding my anxiety, not eating because I'm anxious, or understanding why I feel sadness versus eating to cover up my sadness. So learning to be with my emotions, learning to understand my emotions, learning to understand the messages that the emotions are telling me, right? Like sometimes anxiety is like, hey, I just want to let you know that you're off course. Sometimes it's like, hey, I just want to let you know that's not the best decision for you. So really learning to understand what emotions are trying to tell me and communicate with me and differentiate between them. So naturally, now I'm a vegetarian. I do that not for any like weight loss or anything like that. It's more of just like, that's actually how I want to eat to live. I love animals. I have no judgment if you eat meat. My husband eats meat. My son eats meat, but this is my personal choice. I've learned to respect that I can do something that feels in alignment for me. And sometimes that might change. When I was pregnant, I ate meat. Because I felt like that's what my body needed. So I'm really learned to develop a relationship with myself of understanding me and what it is that I want, and understanding also that some of the things might change and evolve, and they likely will. So my values might change and evolve. What's important to me might grow and change and evolve. But anyways, back to my relationship with food is that I didn't try to heal it from the outside in. I healed it from the inside out. So there's that. I ended up, getting married and having a family of my own because I learned to understand what my boundaries are, what my values are, and be able to communicate my feelings. I'm still working on this in different ways in my life in terms of speaking up and sharing my feelings in a very productive way versus a reactive way. That's something that I'm personally working on now. But before, it seemed very challenging for me to connect intimately with others. And I think a lot of that had to do because I didn't fully know myself. And I think it's a never ending journey because we're always growing and changing and evolving. But I'm constantly throughout the day, I'm tuning in. I'm asking myself questions and I'm listening for the answer. How does this feel? How does this feel? I make decisions based on how I want to feel. Making decisions based on how I want to feel has helped me with food. It's helped me with relationships. It's helped me in my career. And I think deep down inside, I knew that I wanted to have my own business. I had a vision of working for myself, having the freedom and flexibility to one day be able to, be a mom and be able to pick up my kid from school, which I have now. And before I had got into personal development, I had a lot of negative self-talk and mind chatter about why I couldn't do the things that I want, that I wasn't allowed. I didn't have enough money. I didn't have enough resources. It was never enough experience. I didn't have enough experience. Whatever the negative self-talk was, I used to tell myself really mean things like I'll never be successful. And I realized that was having a huge impact in my career. And I started listening to the quiet whisper that was telling me what I really wanted. And I was in enough pain that I was willing to decide no more. I have to listen. And I took a lot of risk. At one point in my 20s, I didn't have health insurance for a couple of years because I was building my business and I had odds and end jobs trying to make ends meet, but I did it. And the thing that personal development has really done for me over all these years, besides all the external things of, having my business and being in a relationship and eating well, besides of all of that, what it's really done for me is it's helped me become more of me and understand what is it that Anna really wants. What is it that really drives me to wake up in the morning and feel excited, and to allow myself to have things that I desire, and to feel comfortable going into uncomfortable situations often. As an entrepreneur, that's essential. And even having this podcast is a little bit uncomfortable for me, if I'm completely honest. It's a little bit vulnerable for me to speak. It's a little bit uncomfortable sometimes for me to speak to people that I don't know or that I admire. And I've learned a ton through podcasting, and that's helped me even more with my social skills, because I was a very, very shy kid growing up. I used to hide behind my mom's leg. All in all, what I want to say is that personal development to me has helped me feel more comfortable in my body, in my life, feel a lot more peace. And at the end of the day, regardless of the external results, I think that's what we all really want. We want more freedom, and freedom to be ourselves. So I just wanted to share what personal development has done for me. If you'd like to share what personal development has done for you, I'd love to hear it. I'd love to hear books that have inspired you. I'd love to hear transformations that have occurred. That stuff, I love it. I'm fascinated by transformation. So if you want to drop me a line, you can email me at info@annagoldstein.com. Thanks so much. If you like this podcast, please share it with your friends and family and write a review. It keeps this podcast going. Questions? Email me at info@annagoldstein.com. Remember to carve your path and be kind to someone today.